Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's demo for Macola 10, a single solution to automate, manage, and grow your business. We know your time is valuable, and we appreciate you sharing some of it with us today. But with that said, I'd like to hand this off to Dan to get us started.
Thank you, Nick. I appreciate the introduction here. Just want to dive right in and tell you that this is primarily a demo webinar, so I will not be doing most of the talking here. This will be Dave's time to shine and really talk about, well, to not just talk about, but just show you Macola 10 and some of the things that we can do with that. So I just wanted to go real quick here through a couple slides and let's talk about who uses Macola, why it's different, and how it can help you. So right out of the gate here, Macola serves just about any manufacturing and distribution industry. So if you're making or selling something, chances are that we can help you with that. And the funny thing is when you're in the manufacturing and distribution business, whether you're making concrete, electronics, or airplanes, a lot of the processes are the same. Who do we serve? Well, it's typically companies in the U.S., Canada, and Latin America. As small as about 20 is probably about as small as we go as far as company size, and then on up into the many thousands of employees as well on the upper end. So let's take a look at some of the companies that we do work with. So I both love and hate this slide. The reason I like it is because it does show you a lot of brands that you might recognize, brands that we've worked with for a long time. The thing I don't like about this slide is that so many of our customers, including probably a lot of you on the line right now, are not brands that have public recognition. And so a huge portion of our customer base are not brands that you would recognize. They're brands or they're companies behind the brands. They're suppliers. They're manufacturers of raw materials. They're doing metals and concretes and part of the automobile supply chain and things like that. So while I love this slide, I don't necessarily think it's representative because so much of manufacturing is behind the scenes and not necessarily big brands. But companies like Simple Green and BE Aerospace and Mazzetta, these are companies that you've heard of. So I thought we'd put this one up there. Next, we want to talk a little bit about some industry recognition that we've gotten. Food and beverage is one of those spaces that we're growing in. And I think it was about this time, I think it was November of 15, when we got the Frost & Sullivan Best Practices Award for the food and beverage industry. And that was a big honor. I flew out to California and we did the awards ceremony out there, and I was able to go out and represent the company during that event, and it's really nice to be recognized for the progress that we're making in food and beverage, and we have a product that's a real contender there. So we're going to do a couple of polls here. The first poll out of the gate is what's the greatest challenge facing your business? So Nick's going to put that up and allow you to vote on that. So is it collaborating across functions? Is it meeting productivity, being more efficient, controlling processes, gaining efficiency? I'll let you guys answer. The pretty resounding winner here is to make processes more efficient. I would tend to agree with that, right? I mean, I think that's part of the main feature of ERP is that we want to drop the spreadsheets, drop the multiple systems. It's interesting too because I've got some quotes here in a few minutes that we'll go over that are along those same lines. So what makes Macola different? Well, there's several, what I think of as core tenets to the product. The first thing about Macola 10 that you should know is unlike 99.9% of the other ERP products in the market, Macola 10 is all-inclusive, which means we don't nickel and dime you when it comes to modules. We feel like the best way forward is to give you what you need to really implement the ERP system that you really want to implement for your business, right? So we give you everything out of the box, and each point of that, each piece of that from all the way on the left to all the way on the right is integrated, and really end-to-end integration between our CRM, our document management, our core ERP functions, our automation. And so we've spent a large amount of time over the last couple of years working on that integration. Next down is the web services model. Web services are so important for us, not only for the integration that we just talked about, but to make sure that that everything we do, every new piece of code that we write is browser-based, that every new piece of code that we write is somehow tied into an API. And we're doing that with an MVC methodology. And you know, for those of you that are curious about that, you can bring up a window on the side and Google it or look at Wikipedia. MVC is Model View Controller, and it's just a way of coding that kind of separates various things like the visual elements from the code. So that's the methodology that we use, and we build it all using .NET. And so our development manager, you know, is maybe we'll do a webinar sometime around our the nuts and bolts of how we develop, but we do that in a .NET stack. And our finally our you know path forward we feel like is anytime, any device. So whether it's a browser, a desktop, a phone, a tablet, doesn't really matter to us. We're device agnostic, and our goal is to have screens that are responsive and that look good on any device. Now, the capabilities of Macola 10, I think of this, I call this the wheel, right? So there's 7 core areas of functionality like manufacturing and distribution and accounting and HRM and CRM. But those are the 7 core pieces. But we also have business process management, automation, and of course our front end is what we call configurable workspaces, which gives you a personalizable view into your data and into what matters to you. So we're almost to the time that I'm going to turn it over to Dave here. A couple more things. Let's do another quick poll. So what's the most important factor for you when you're making an ERP purchasing decision? I'd be curious to see what you guys think about here. You know, is it the all-inclusive area? Is it flexible purchase options around, you know, subscription or perpetual or enterprise license agreements? Is it mobile? What is it? So let's put that up there, Nick, if we can. Pretty interesting. I'm always kind of surprised by our surveys because typically we get one pretty clear-cut winner. We can go ahead and stop that one there, Nick. So this time the clear-cut winner, not by as big a margin as sometimes, but it's this idea of integration end-to-end. And believe me, we feel like that's an important one too, and we started in on a multi-year project to make sure that is as smooth as possible. And we're, what, about 3 years into that project, Dave?
Yeah, give or take.
Yeah, about 3 years into that, so we've spent a lot of time on it. So the final section here for me is how Macola can help you. And so the point of this is to think about different roles in your business. So whether it's the president, the CFO, a sales manager, the IT manager, all of them have different things that matter to them. You know, one person like the IT manager might be worried about managing multiple sites, and then his counterpart in sales is worried about automating the order process, and maybe the CFO cares about that order process too, but he cares about it from margin and performance perspective, and the CEO, he wants a higher level view. So all of that's to say that, you know, one of the benefits of Macola 10 is this idea, and we had this on the survey, and I think it got, what, 38% of the vote or something. I think it was the next one down. This customizable viewer, you know, no matter who you are, that you can customize the view that matters to you for your role in the organization. So before I turn it over to Dave here, let's start out on the right foot. A couple of customer quotes. Here's one from Wayne Bailey. He's the CIO at Reno Refractories, and it says, you know, he talks about before they implemented, they had all these different places: customer service, order entries, inventory, accounting, shipping. It was all in different systems. Now everything is integrated and everything revolves around their inventory. The next one, Denise Johnson at Right Way, she talks about how it used to take 3 or 4 or 5 days to get a quote out the door, and now they can do that in a half a day thanks to their Macola 10 implementation. And Don McCall from GL Mazet, I actually used this one in the webinar a few days ago, but I really like this quote. You know, they dropped 4 hours every day on one task. What makes that so stunning is you think about 4 hours every day times a year, times 5 years, times 10 years, times the cost of someone's salary. How much is that saving them over multiple years? That's a huge, huge number. just an automation savings. Well, this is where I jump off the train here. I'm going to hand it off to Dave because I wanted this to be primarily about seeing the product in action. So, Dave, let me turn it over to you and let you show off the product.
Excellent. Well, thanks a lot, Dan. I've got one slide here before we jump in and get to the meat and potatoes of it here, and just kind of want to stage up the high-level things that we're going to be taking a look at today as we get into the demo. Macola 10 is exceptionally wide and exceptionally deep, especially as we get into the integrated pieces between CRM and workflow automation and document management. So what we're going to basically do is sort of at a high level go through a process that hopefully is pretty near and dear to everyone's heart, and that's the order to cash process. So we're going to start on the sales and CRM side of the house, and then we're going to walk through putting in an opportunity, moving the opportunity into a quoting stage. We're going to win that quote, get into order mode, and then we're going to jump into some different roles within Macola. So once we have that order placed, we're going to move over to the production side of things and look at a production schedule and some basic things like reporting production, and move into doing the shipping function and getting into the invoicing and the receiving of cash. Now, certainly after the demo today, we'll be more than happy to do some follow-ups and deep dive into some of these individual areas. Some of these areas you could spend 2 to 4 hours just on one of these circles up there, digging into all the nitty-gritty of it. So we're going to keep it reasonably high level, but the goal is at the end of our demo today that everyone on the line here has a real good impression of what Macola 10 can do for you and your business. So I'm going to grab control of the screen here. And what we're seeing here is what we like to demonstrate from, and this is a role-based type of workspace. So what this gives us the ability to do is jump back and forth between different roles. So I'm kind of in the demo guy type of mode right now, and you'll see here I'm going to be able to drill into our sales rep, production, finance, shipping, all of these different aspects, because the whole role-based and workspace mentality is, as Dan mentioned, one of the core tenets to Macola 10 and is very important for providing that individualized experience that's built on top of the same data across all the different functional areas within your organization. So we're going to start here, and I'm going to take over the salesperson role here. And each individual, as they log in, has a workspace that they're greeted with. There's different terminology around them: workspace, homepage, dashboard. Different systems, and we call these different things. But the idea with the workspaces in Macola 10 is it's one centralized area where you can kind of start and end your day in, and for that particular user in that particular role, you're going to have access to everything you need without having to jump back and forth between multiple areas in the system and even between multiple systems, so to speak. So we'll spend a little bit of time here on Bob's homepage and kind of get you guys familiarized with what all is available on the home pages as well. So you'll see there's different pieces of information, and this is all information that's important to Bob. So for instance, we've got some tiles up here that are all the things that Bob has to do that he has to do every day is the best way to put it. So, things like entering a basic task, putting in an opportunity, converting quotes to orders, and even general reporting, he's able to do that without having to leave that home page here. But then also he's got some favorites. He's got a couple customers on here that he interacts with quite a lot, so he's able to add those in and pull up those customers very quickly. And then we see Bob's funnel, and this is his individual funnel. So if a different salesperson were to log in, their workspace may end up looking completely different, than Bob's does, depending on what information is important to them. But then all of these are actionable as well. So for instance, if I want to look at what's in this section of the funnel, I can just click on that, and I'm going to be able to drill down into that particular area of the funnel and get the information that's pertinent to me in that case. And then on the automated workflow side, every individual is going to have a list of workflows that they need to participate in. And in this case, I've got the quick drill down into what Bob needs to take action on, and can either pull up my entire workflow from here or see those top 10 ones that need the action on it as well. Now, before we kind of move away from the workspace aspect of it, I do want to just point out how easy it is to configure this. As Dan had mentioned as well in the intro, one of the main kind of tenets of Macola is that ability to configure rather than customize. So if you don't like how something looks on the screen, you can add, take away, move around, and it's a quick thing that each individual user has the ability to do. So when I click on my little right-hand widget button here down in the lower right, I've got a whole catalog of widgets that I can add to my workspace. So a lot of different out-of-the-box things, including quick searches. I can tie to specific documents. If I'm getting into the CRM things like we looked at my sales funnel, I can see accounts, opportunities. I can put reports. So if there's reports that are very important to me, I can get those right on my home page there. And again, it's very easy to add on a user-by-user basis. And then if I want to kind of massage how that all looks, I have the ability then to drag and drop those around. So see how everything kind of snaps together there. Close out my widget window here. Can move this up, and it's going to push all those tiles down. I can resize, and everything kind of flows to try to fit in based on how you're dragging and dropping it, so you're not, trying to line up pixels or anything like that. And again, that's on a user-by-user type of basis, so it's very easy to set that up for yourself. And then from an administrative standpoint, there's the ability for users to share workspaces, create templates, deploy it to other folks. So if you're the IT person, you can set something up, or a department manager, you can set that up and push that out to multiple individuals very, very easily. So again, that workspace technology, we'll see that pervasively throughout the demonstration today, and as we get into each functional role, that's going to look a little different per user. So let's take a look at entering an opportunity. So another piece of the Macola ecosystem is the fact that CRM is built right in and is accessing everything from the same single source of data. So going back to the polls, we talked a little bit about efficiency and integration. Those are kind of the winners, so to speak, of those polls. So and that's really key for us. So efficiency is being gained through everything being in one centralized place, and that integration is what really supports that. So let's say I have a new opportunity come in. I can enter that just from my tile right here. So in all of these pages, so every page that we see in Macola that looks like this as well, up in my upper right-hand side, I've got a little wrench here, and that allows me as an individual user to configure, again, not customize, but configure what I see on the screen. So I can turn fields off and on that maybe aren't pertinent. And as a administrator, I also have the ability to go in, turn those on, make them mandatory, and lock those down as well. So, and you can even get into where you can drag and drop those to order them, how you want them to show up. And that's pervasive throughout the entire application. So we'll put a new opportunity in, and we're going to pick a sales cycle. And the sales cycles are all configurable again, and use the automation tools to support those. So in this instance here, I've got a 5-stage sales cycle, and this one I just got a 2-stage proposal and contract. So we'll put that one in. Just we'll add a description to what this is. Now, as we get into assigning the account here, we can on the fly add a brand new account. So if it's a new lead or a new prospect, I wouldn't necessarily have to go out and create that master data record prior to creating the opportunity. And this is going to flow all the way through back to the core processes as we get into when this turns into an order and when we're invoicing. There's no duplication of efforts here. I'm able to just put this in one time, and it's going to be available throughout the entire system. So we'll use customer 901 here. And then there's some other metrics we can capture here on the opportunity side. So what the probability it's going to close is, what our planned amount is when we think this is going to end, and when we want to follow up with it. And the follow-up piece is important too, because that's where the automated automation tools and workflows come into play, and we can leave ourselves little reminders to follow up on a certain date on a particular opportunity, so nothing is dropping through the cracks here. And then finally, we can say where this particular opportunity came from, and these are all configurable as well, so it's not something that we mandate that it has to be something one way or the other. So we'll go ahead and save this opportunity. Oh, and you'll see I messed up. I need to get a contact on there, so that's something that we've gone back in and made mandatory. So we'll get Harry tied to this opportunity here. So now what we're looking at here is the opportunity card. And cards are another big feature that's throughout Macola that gives us a deep dive view into a piece of data. And as we get deeper here, we're going to take a look at customer cards, item cards, things of that nature, and it consolidates all sorts of information into one place. So we can see here on the opportunity card, down in our little middle section here, we've got documents, workflow, projects, and as this moves along, we can even see if there's orders tied to this particular opportunity as well. Now right now, since this is brand new, the only thing we're going to have tied to this is workflow. And this proposal development is automatically generated by the fact that we put in that opportunity. So we can drill down into that from here, and you'll see it's in Bob's queue to be worked on. So let's say, for instance, someone else had entered this opportunity. So we're going to go back to Bob's home page here, and we see now in his workflow that step and action that needs taken for that opportunity shows up right here. So he can drill down into that from there as well. So same data accessed from a different place, so it makes it very accessible and easy to get into everything. So he can fill in some additional information that he needs to put in here. So project number, if he wants to tie some documentation to it, can put remarks in. So again, we're capturing all this in one centralized place, upload the proposal, and attach this right here. So we'll approve that, and that's going to move that along the chain for that particular opportunity. So it gives you the ability to build out a simple flow or a more complex flow that meets the needs of your particular business there. So we won't necessarily go through every single step of the opportunity there, but let's assume we get into the quoting stage. So we've got the proposal out, it comes back, and then say, okay, hey, we're good to go. We want to see the quote put in. So again, Bob can do that right here from his workspace. So he has the ability to come in, and we're going to initiate a brand new quote. So we'll stick with customer 901 here. Now, one thing I want to kind of highlight on this screen as well is our actionable menu system. So you'll see here there's a little gray arrow right beside where we see the customer's name here. And from there, you have the ability to create a configurable menu that allows you to take contextual actions right from the data entry screen. So in a lot of traditional type of systems, if you're doing data entry, you're going to have to leave that screen open and go somewhere else to be able to see information pertinent to that particular data point. So in this case, we're looking at our outdoor adventure outlet here. And let's say I want to take a look at the customer card. So maybe I want to see if they've got any other orders sitting out there, any other type of pertinent information about that account, see if they're on hold, things like that. So you'll see that just pops up in a little window there, so I'm not taken away from putting my quotation in, but now we're looking at the customer card. So I've got all the master data associated with that customer, so I can get to that very easily. And then you'll see in the upper right-hand side here, I've got my monitor section almost identical to what we had on the opportunity card there, and I've got the ability to drill down from there and see all other pertinent information about this customer. So let's say I want to check and see if they have any open orders prior to quoting this. So I can drill down here, and see that they've got 15 open orders. And we can kind of create this logical chain where we just keep drilling down and without leaving my transactional screen. So maybe I want to pop that order open. I can pop that open right here in that little modal window as well. So very easy to access information from any particular point in the system. We'll close out of here. The rest of this is very consistent with a normal sort of quote entry. So we won't necessarily go through every field here. If there was a CRM demo that we wanted to get very specific in, we'd be able to see a lot of that. So we'll save this off. And we'll put a line item in here. And we'll go ahead and save this quote. So we've got a quote in the system. Now I have the ability, I can go ahead and create a new quote right from here. I can print this if I want to, and you'll see again I've got a lot of actions I can take right here from the quoting and CRM system as well. Or I can say I want to promote this to an order, which using the automation system will send that off to the appropriate person to be converted. Now going back to Bob's homepage here, so we've got that quote sitting out there. So the customer comes in and says, okay, I want to go ahead and order that. So because the CRM is integrated with the rest of the application, it isn't this standalone type of thing where we've got to push data back and forth, I can actually just go ahead and convert that quote to an order as opposed to creating a brand new order. So when we go to that screen there, just type in my quote number, and I just say convert. We get an order number assigned, say OK, and in just a couple clicks, we've switched that quote that we put into the system to an actual order now that's ready to be shipped, fulfilled, etc. So and I can go ahead and print an acknowledgement right from here or a picking ticket right from here as opposed to going to another menu, or the automation tools can pick those up and automatically send those out to folks as necessary. So very easy to get from point to point as we're going through. Now, one thing I kind of want to highlight here before we move out of the sales opportunity quoting side of it is how a lot of the things that we just showed are available either on a native app or in a mobile type of way as well. So I'm going to jump out of here for just a moment, and we're going to pull up our iPad here, or I'm sorry, our iPhone. So this is the native app, and you'll notice I can go in and take a look at all the opportunities that are mine as well, just like we did logged in as Bob. I can drill down into that opportunity, make changes to that opportunity if I need to. I can even go ahead and mark it as lost, reject it if I need to as well. And then at the top here, we'll see I can drill down into any request that are associated with that particular opportunity. Right from my mobile device here. And again, I can update the status of those requests right from my phone. So the mobile app is very specific to CRM type of functions. So I could approve that. You'll see I'm seeing the same sort of data that was on my request before. Now if I back all the way out here, so I got a lot of other options available to me. So I'm not locked into just seeing one or two pieces type of information. But if I pull up accounts here, and we'll drill down into my account here, and you'll see this is sort of an abridged card like we saw on the full app, but then there's some neat features that are specific to the phone, like I can touch the little pen there and drill down and get driving directions to that account as well. So it's extending some of the functionality based on what's available to you to an iPhone. I can drill into my workflow from here just like Bob could. So if you're on the go, you've got the ability to approve, make updates, take a look at the information, so you're not locked in to having to be at a desk and everything grinds to a halt. If someone's out on vacation for a little while, they can work from the beach if they need to. Now I'm going to switch over here to an iPad, and you'll notice we're taking a little different approach and a little different view here. So whereas on the phone we were looking at a native app, what we're looking at here is basically the same thing we were looking at on the desktop view with Bob. So as Bob, I can come up and go to my workflow here, and I'm going to see my full workflow just as I would have on the desktop application. And you'll notice some of the screens here look a little bit different, but basically have the same type of information on it. So I can come down, I can interact with this request just like I would with any request on my regular screen. So I can type in some information on here if I want to say, I completed this, or I need to update the status on it. Again, I don't necessarily have to be on, sitting there at my desk to be able to do that, and I'm still getting the full experience here. So I can come up and I can go ahead and say I want to qualify this particular lead here, and that's going to go ahead and move that request onto the next step here. So maybe I'm at at a football game, or again sitting on the beach or doing something fun. I don't necessarily have to stop working just as a result of doing that. So we'll pull up another task here, and you'll see some of the responsiveness here. So if I switch that to the side there, so everything kind of reshapes and redraws to fit the screen there. Now, some of this experience you wouldn't necessarily want to try to do on a phone, and that's why we have the native apps available. But then on an iPad like this, you can pretty much do all the same sort of things that you normally would. And then you could see there briefly how it would redraw the home page based on the screen being set up like that. But the big question is, so can I do anything really transactional from the iPad as well? So let's say I wanted to go ahead and actually enter a quote just like we did on the desktop application. So I can come in here and you see the same type of screen for the quote here. And if I want to see it in a little different view, again, it's going to move that around. So I can, maybe it's a little easier for me to hold this in my hand like upright and do the typing here with my thumbs. So I can go in and I can either type my account in there, or maybe I even want to go out and search for that account. I've got the ability to do that as well, and that's going to work again just as it would on the desktop there. And I can fill in any additional information that I need to as I'm going through, and you're going to get the exact same experience as you would on the desktop app. And if I want to go in and search for my item here, the searches are going to work exactly the same as they do on the desktop. So again, really hammering home that kind of point of mobile and mobility are really kind of two different things. Mobile, a lot of times you think of native apps. You go to the App Store and install it like we looked at the app on the phone there. But what we're seeing here is really true mobility, where you have access to all the same data, all the same information, able to transactionally do the same things as you normally would from a mobile type device in a way that's natural and intuitive. So we'll go ahead and save our line here, and that's going to take us back to our home page there. So with that, we're kind of at the end of the salesy type of piece of it, but just keep in mind as we're looking at the other areas that what we're looking at here, logged in as Bob doing sales stuff, even if we're doing production type things, things of that nature, that same functionality would exist there. So I'm going to jump back over to my main screen here. So we've got a quote put in. We've converted that quote to an order. So I'm actually going to log out from Bob's persona here. You'll see we're back to our kind of base camp here. So now we can move in and take a look at the production side of things. So we've got orders in, and now we actually have to make some stuff. Now, we're going to kind of skip over some of the nitty-gritty around MRP and doing that. And what we're specifically going to look at today is centered around production order processing. So there's actually a couple different methods of doing production in Macola, shop floor control and production order processing, and that's a whole probably 4-hour demonstration in and of itself. But it really comes down to if you're doing kind of simpler manufacturing, or if you're doing much more complex manufacturing that needs a lot of data collection as you go through, And for instance, moving from work center to work center, where production order processing is based around back flushing and the ability to get something moved through, pretty quickly. So we're going to go in as our production person here as Bruce. And now you can see with Bruce here, he's got a workspace that has some similar elements to what Bob, our sales guy, did, but it looks different because Bruce likes to see things in a little different way, and he has different functions that he's responsible for. So, for instance, Bruce likes process flows. So he likes being able to come down here, and he's got a production planning scheduling process flow that's part of his workspace here. So he kind of likes it as a reminder to say, okay, here's the certain things that we need to do throughout start to finish when we're getting into planning and scheduling and whatnot. And that's using the contextual menu system to create those lists for him. So you can say, okay, I need to enter an estimate, create an item if I'm starting from scratch, and go through and check all these things off. And as we get into the planning side, for instance, if we want to manually create pop orders, or if we're running MRP, we have the ability to, create production orders right from the MRP system. So as part of his process, he might come in, take a look at all the computer planned orders that are out there and make choices around if he wants to automatically convert those into firm planned orders. So again, the MRP system is very deep, very robust, and that would be a couple-hour presentation in and of itself. So for the sake of this demonstration, what we're going to do is we're going to come in and take a look at a sample production order schedule. So part of Bruce's day is he's going to come in and see what all needs to be done for the day or the week and start planning, how he's going to get everybody in the shop set up for that week. So we'll see with this particular schedule, we've got production grouped up by start date. We're pulling everything, but I could filter this down to a particular date range if I wanted to. And I'll go ahead and pop down here to the bottom here. So you see we're running a little behind here, but if I look at the week of 9/14, I've got a whole group of orders that need to be run through, and I can see things like what my quantity to produce is, how much has been reported against those, and you'll see all these are red here where they're past due, and they're still sitting here unreleased even though the due date happened in the past year. And we'll see the one up here at the top is in a printed status, so it's ready to go out to the shop. So what Bruce is maybe going to do here is take a look at these total quantities, get the folks lined up appropriately to produce this, and then let's say he wants to go in and release order 242 here. So he's just going to use the contextual menu right there, come in and say I want to release the order. It's going to pop up. I can see additional information about the order there. I'll say release, and we're going to go ahead and print the production order, or the traveler, as some folks might call it, while we're doing the release. So we've got some insufficient quantities, so we're going to have to dig in, take a look at that. So very quickly, again, right there from the application, I'm not jumping around. I'm able to do that release, and I've got my work order ready to print right now and send out to the shop. Now, let's say, for instance, I just don't necessarily want to leave here, but I just want to take a look at what's on a particular order. So let's look at 240 here. I can come up and I say, oh, I want to take this quick look snapshot view of this in that same sort of modal window without leaving my workspace here. I can see what's going on with that order. And anyone that has the proper access would be able to come in and see this data and this information. So it's run through. Now, this is something that maybe Bruce doesn't do. Maybe somebody out on the shop floor does this, or, potentially if we're using barcode scanning and WMS type of functionality, we do this in a little different manner. But where this can be multifunctional as well is when I get to the time to report production against this. So I'll use the same order there, number 240, and I'm going to go in and report my production. And I can just simply say the order is complete. This is the quantity I produced. Go ahead and save that. And in this case, I've got to tell it what bin it came from, because we've got bin control turned on for that. And it's that simple to report the production against that particular order there. And then once I refresh my scheduling workspace here, I'm going to see that fall out, or I'm sorry, fall off of the schedule here. Now, one other thing that I want to take a look at from here is the ability to pull up that item card right from this same spot. So just like we had the customer card, I can pull up my item card, see all the information about that item. I can see all of the pop orders, or if I was using shop floor, I'd be able to see all of the shop floor orders that are sitting out there for that item. And I can pull all that information up right from one centralized location. So on the production side, there's a lot of different options as far as how we want to group this up too. So for instance, we could say, I want to see this by start date. I want to see this by type of order, by parent item, by components. So there's a lot of ways to schedule and be able to get that push through. And then there's some visual scheduling capabilities as well. Again, very things to require kind of very deep dive there as we go in. So I'm going to jump back to my home page here. Here. So we've gotten through production. So I'm at a very high level. So I'm going to go back to my starting point here. Let's take a quick look at the final piece of the flow here, and we want to get things shipped out, and we want to get them invoiced. It's important that we get that money. So I'm going to hop over to my shipping person here, Peter Bailey, and we'll see this is a little different type of workspace that Peter's using here. Peter's using a very functional type of workspace. So rather than launching other things from the workspace here, he's got everything kind of sitting here on his home page. So he can transact right from here. I'll put in my shipping dates, refresh. So we'll see now Peter's got a list of everything that needs to ship out based on the required ship date. And he's doing that right from that workspace, so it becomes a very transactional type of thing. So let's say he comes in and this particular order needs to ship. He can pull that up. He can say, I'm going to select this order for shipping. Oh, shoot, sorry, I need to ship that guy out first before I select it for billing. So just a couple steps here. We can say I want to ship all. And we're going to go ahead and overship in this case. If there are any freight charges, we can pull those in. Any miscellaneous, we can do that as well. And we'll see I went ahead and I shipped that out. As I refresh here, we're going to see that order there, 740, and I'll pull just that particular order up. Just want to show that updating in real time because, again, we're not pushing things from any disparate sources. So we see now that's going to be updated, and we can go ahead and bill that and push everything out there as well. So that keeps it very simple for Peter and easy to interact with. Now, an example where we can use the same sort of information in a little different way, if I drill down into my finance workspace here, and my finance role, and let's say we want to do the billing. So again, I'm able to pull that up right from my workspace. And we could even use that same shipping workspace, but in a little different manner. So let's say for the billing person, we're going to say, hey, just show me everything that's been confirmed shipped. So everything that Peter shipped out, I just want to see those particular items. So then I can use that as a workflow to be able to come in and say, okay, I want to bill these particular items. So I can bill those right from here. And it makes it very easy to go through and just one by one say, okay, I want to pull that guy up, bill it. be done with it, and we're good to go. So then I can pop back to my workspace here, and I can do my invoicing straight from here as well. So I'm ready to invoice. I can invoice everything that's been billed. Go ahead and start this. So, and then that's part of the pieces where you can use automation system to go ahead and send out invoices automatically to the customers, or if I want to print these or go ahead and PDF them myself, I have that ability to do that as well. So a lot of different options, or I can even email them straight from here if I want to do that manually, or we can pick that up with the automation pieces. And then on the final sort of step of it here, we've invoiced, and then I can just easily come in as the finance person and enter the cash for that particular invoice. And it becomes a very easy process to go through and just say, okay, I'm getting $100. Put it on a deposit here. And we want to allocate that to 901. That's fine. And then it's a very simple process to take that payment that we've just put in and match that up to invoices or multiple invoices, and it's a very visual type of process. It makes it very easy to match up the cash that's come in to any outstanding invoices that are out there. So very easy, very simple, very straightforward. So we'll log off as our finance person here, and again, very high level. We didn't want to take up too much of your guys' time today, but wanted to demonstrate a lot of the core tenets of Macola 10 and what's available to you, both from a nuts and bolts standpoint and just from an integration standpoint, and the ability to get those efficiencies, and most importantly, do robust type of functions that are necessary to run your business, but in a easy way that folks can go in and it's intuitive for them to navigate. So with that, I'm going to toss it over to Dan to take us out here.
Sure. Thanks, Dave. I enjoyed the demo. So just a couple of final thoughts just to kind of sum up. What is it that Macola can help you do? Well, remember, Macola is an all-inclusive solution. That's sort of the first and foremost thing that I talk about. So it's got that single price tag to get everything out of the box. Secondly, we've got a lot of web and mobile access. You saw Dave show you, hey, what does this look like on a mobile device or an iPad, phone, or a web browser? Configuration over customization. The idea there is that in the old days you had to do a lot of custom work. You would call in a developer who would spend days and days or maybe weeks and weeks writing something specific for you. The idea of workspaces is that you can drag a widget to your desktop and really get the view that you want within a couple of minutes, and then you begin to tweak that for exactly the experience that you want, which of course, right? I mean, we're in the internet age when you should be able to customize everything through your browser and to your liking without, an engagement. We talked about automated workflows on our last webinar. I think that's a really important piece of what Macola 10 is. Flexible purchase options. You guys, if you don't already know, we do offer subscription. We offer perpetual licenses, and we offer enterprise license agreements, which are another way to say site licenses. So we'll definitely work with you based on your situation and what works for your company. Also, of course, the last bullet here, personalizable views. Like I said, that's just an important part of what Macola 10 can do for you, whether you're a CFO, a CEO, an IT manager, a shop floor manager, whatever it is, so you get that view that matters to you personally. So we're going to wrap it up here. Macola.com is where you can go to find all kinds of information, customer testimonial videos, white papers. Nick has been busy over the last several months, really increasing the amount of content that we have out there as far as white papers and things like that. So take a look at the website. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, that sort of thing. And I think probably the most important thing is if you have a question, if you want to talk with us, if you want to talk with sales, if you want to talk with Dave or me, please reach out either via email, via the contact us on the website, or right here in the questions box. So I think we've got a couple minutes left for some questions here. Dave, you want to take a few off the stack?
Yeah, sure. We'll kind of start at the top here and try to get through this as through as many as we can before we run out of time here. The first question here is, can you save separate workspaces for mobile use to save screen space? And the answer is yes. If you have workspaces specifically developed for mobile, we're kind of changing some of the deployment methods for workspaces in general. So you do have the ability to hook up workspaces that are specifically for mobile use and aren't necessarily ones that are going to be displayed on the desktop. So there is an ability to do that. Another question is, are reports within Macola 10 crystal based? The kind of short answer is yes. We do still use crystal reports in Macola 10, but we also use SSRS quite heavily in Macola 10. So a lot of folks today still use both crystal and SSRS. A lot of the workspace technology, the reporting you see now in Macola 10 is based on SSRS, but we do still use crystal. So the follow-up question to that is, can built-in reports be customized within Macola 10? And the answer is absolutely. So any of the things out of the box can be updated, customized, and changed to suit your particular business. And you can even hang totally custom reports, whether they be crystal or SSRS. You can hang those off of the Macola 10 menu basically, so they look and operate just like any of our out-of-the-box reports do. So an end user wouldn't really know the difference between those. Next one, are there standard workspace examples available? So an example of what your CSR inventory person would use. There are out-of-the-box examples available of workspaces. No, generally. They don't give you 100% coverage, and you kind of have to work them a little bit to make them fit your business model. But it's they're out there to kind of get you started and get the imagination going, and maybe get you 75-80% of the way there. Another one we have here. Let's see. This looks like it might be kind of a multi-part question. I think it's from the same person. So they might have missed this because I started late. What plugins to the core Macola 10 are you running in this demo? Our Macola looks nothing like this. How much customization off the base install have you done? So the Macola 10 we were running, we didn't show any third-party add-ins today. It's straight up out-of-the-box Macola 10. Now what we did do is, so like when we do demonstrations and we pop into those different type of roles, we have configured those workspaces to to be prepared for a demo, to say, okay, we're going to show this, we're going to show that, we're going to show in our example of the customer service.
And we were most appreciative of you spending your time with us this afternoon. It's valuable, and we're very thankful that you spent it with us. So thanks, Dave. Thanks, Dan. And thanks, everyone, for joining us. And we just want to wish you a good rest of your afternoon.
Type of thing. So that's really where we're kind of talking about configuration versus customization. So we didn't have anything custom that we showed today.
No, and I know there's probably still some more questions coming, but I just wanted to let you know that if there are additional questions, feel free to reply. We'll be emailing you a recorded link to the on-demand version of this tomorrow. And if you do have questions, just let me know, or you can email them to me at nick.mears@exact.com.
And sorry, I just thought of one real quick thing that
Sure.
interject here towards the end. We were showing version 10.4. So if you are on a previous version of even Macola 10, the workspace technology changed quite a bit between like 10.3 and 10.4. So if what you have today does look a little different, it might be, if you're on 10.2 or 10.3, we added a ton of stuff in 10.4.
I'm glad you said that.
It just popped in my head. So
that was a good reason to interject there.